Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to actually make a batch upload file according to Moneris specifications. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a CSV file, which stands for comma separated value. So the first step is we need to actually download the specification. We have to download the guidelines, the documentation that says how the file should look, how it should be formatted. Because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be uploading the file via an SFTP program, and it's basically a computer program that's going to read it. So the computer program, it really, they're not that smart, so they need the information in the exact format. Otherwise, if there's any mistakes, they're not going to be able to handle it, and it's not going to work. So you've got to have the format exactly. So the first step, so you open up Internet Explorer. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Moneris' download portal for developers. So you just type in the address. It's developer with no s .moneris.com. And so this is what it currently looks like. So it's free registration to be able to access this site. So if you have a merchant account, that means you won't have access to this account automatically. If you don't have a merchant account, you won't have access automatically. So this is a totally separate system from your merchant account if you have one. You have to register here first before you can access it. So you would just click the register now button, and then you would just fill out all the information here. So I've already done that, so I'm just going to log in with my account. So I'll just go back here and click sign in. And so I'll just type in my account information here, just 1 second. Okay, so it's just under just this link here, batch file upload. Just click that. I'll just give you a bit of information about batch file upload. So there's two files, there's XML and CSV. So this video only covers CSV upload, so we're going to click that guide and click open. And so this is our PDF document that describes the file format and everything there is to do about batch upload. So there's a lot of stuff in here. The basic transaction, if you just want to send a purchase, you just want to charge the credit card, get your money, you don't want to worry about refunds or anything like that. You just all you need to do is the purchase function. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. I'm not going to show the other ones. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with batch upload, but we'll just stick to purchase, and we'll just do a plain old purchase. So this is the purchase. So how it works is you have a column, and then you have a comma, and then another column, another comma, another column, another comma, until you get to the end. So I'll just show you an example of what a file actually looks like. So here's one I already made. This one looks good. Nope, not that one. Okay, so here's a file I made. So if you look at the columns here, you can see the first word is purchase. So it's always, for purchase, it's always going to be purchase. That's the transaction type. So the trans type, that's what's in brackets there. Second column is an order ID. So the order ID basically is, in order to tell transactions apart, you specify an order ID. So every order ID, it has to be unique. So this kind of protects you against uploading the same file twice. So if you upload the file, processes everything, you upload it again, you're going to get a duplicate order ID error because that order ID is already going to be in the system. So when you specify something here, it doesn't matter what it is. I think it's alphanumeric plus a couple other characters. You can look it up in the guide. and it just has to be less than 50 characters. So just something unique that's never been submitted to your merchant account. One thing you'll find if you're doing testing with the test merchant accounts is you'll find a lot of the order IDs like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have already been submitted, so you'll get like a duplicate order ID if you do something like that in testing. You won't see that in production with your own account because it'll just be your transactions in production, but that's just one thing to watch out for. So next column is the amount. So the amount has to have 2 decimal places. So in this example, it's 1.00. You could have 1.1 or sorry, with 2 decimal places, not 3. You could have 2.5, whatever you want, and it has to have 2 decimal places. That's the one trick, and I think it's 1 cent less than a million is the max, and 1 cent is the minimum. So you can't have $0. You can't have $1 million. Those are the limits. Next is the credit card number. So it's called here PAN, which I believe stands for primary account number, but that just means the credit card number. So there's no dashes, there's no spaces, just the credit card number, one big long number. Next is the expiry date. The expiry date, it's a little bit of a not maybe what you're expecting on your credit card. You're going to see month and then the year. So two digits for the month, 2 digits for the year. With this, it's reversed. So you're going to have 2 digits for the year and then 2 digits for the month. So it's reversed from what you have on your credit card. And then the crypt type, what the crypt type means is it's like, how did you get the transaction from the customer? So 1 means mail order telephone. So if they called you up, they gave you the credit card number of the phone, and you're going to process the transaction through a batch upload, you'd use a 1. If they send it to you by mail or they fax it to you, then you'd use a 1. If it was a secure e-commerce transaction that was secured with SSL, then you would use a 7. And there's a couple other numbers, like if it's recurring, you can look that up in the guide. But for most purposes, you should just use 1, and that'll suffice. Okay, so this is the file. So how it works, so you're going to have, each transaction is going to have its own line. In this case, there's 3 transactions, and that's pretty much it. So I use Notepad here to make it. You can use Excel, you could use OpenOffice, you could use another program if you have another program, another word editing program. One thing you have to watch out for though is if you're going to use Excel, by default, so I'll just open up Excel here. By default, what Excel will do is it will change the credit card number to scientific notation. So you can see the number there, it's got a 0 at the end, and if you try to upload this file, it's not going to work. So that's a really common issue you got to watch out with Excel. Also, you don't want to have headers up here, you want to have just the card numbers. So like you'd have to highlight the column, you'd have to format it, you'd have to change it to something like maybe like text. You could do that. I think text will work, and then there you go. So one other thing you need to watch out for is if you have an order ID that has leading zeros, by default, so like, or 1, 2, 3, by default Excel will get rid of those leading zeros. It's sort of to make it easier for you, but when we're dealing with these systems, maybe you just want to watch out for that, because the leading zeros are gone. So if you're depending on those, just watch out, they might get removed automatically. So just be careful. Always check the card numbers before you upload. Make sure you spot check a bunch if you've got a ton of rows. Just make sure the card numbers haven't been changed at all. Make sure that they're 15 or 16 digits long, and you don't have like a 0 like at the end like you do here, like just got added to the end of the file. Okay, and that's pretty much how you make a batch upload file for Moneris.